Hi guys, it's John, JRB Tree Climbing. With this video, I'm starting a new playlist on my channel called JRB Hitch Climbing. My audience climbs trees with ropes or with sticks or with steps, and I was asked if there was a way to climb a tree without the use of a throw ball but still use a rope system. In fact, I was asked if I can use the JRB climbing system, which is also described here on my channel, to climb a tree in that fashion. And I thought the answer was no, but it turns out the answer is yes. But there are some prerequisites. Now, I'm going to do a demonstration climb today, and it is just that, a demonstration. If you attempt to do anything like this, please seek appropriate instruction. If you have questions for me or additional video content, I'll be happy to supply it. The reason I am providing this information is to provoke thought for other climbers in methods that allow you to be tied into the tree the entire time, and I will be doing so. I'll be climbing this tree, which has no visible tree crotches for me to use as an anchor, and I will be climbing it. Should it have a branch, I could bypass that branch, but this tree doesn't have one. Okay, so the three pieces of information you would need before climbing, besides the JRB climbing system itself, are knowledge of how to tie the saddle hunter's hitch. That is a hitch that I devised, and there's information on my channel about how to tie the saddle hunter's hitch. The other hitch I use is the JRB hitch, another hitch I devised, available here on my channel, and that is a remotely releasable hitch. I tie it once and rappel off of it and then remove it at the bottom of the tree. And the last piece of information is the Garda hitch foot platform. The Garda hitch, I describe in a video how to tie the Garda hitch and create a set of foot loops. In this variant, I have a solid bottom variant, and that allows me to keep my feet against the tree and better position myself during this climb. So I'm going to get started and show you how I execute this climb. My saddle is equipped with not only my primary factory bridge, but with a redundant bridge that I use for rappel, and I also have beaners on both of my bridge loops, and I will be employing them. So let's start by creating a saddle hunter's hitch, and I'm going to flip this up as high as I can to get the most out of my first move on this system. Now, there's only one rope in this system. It's not a two-rope system, it's a one-rope system. When I attach to this rope, I will remain on it and remain tied into the tree the entire climb. And I do it in this fashion. So I've got friction hitches on both sides of the system, and I will utilize those to leapfrog over my hitches. So I'll start by putting one of my friction hitches on the right loop and one on the left. And this little piece of cordage here is really just to help me tend those hitches and keep them in position. I've got some beaners here on my lineman's loops, and they're just used to keep the rope out of my way. I don't want it in my way while my feet are against the tree. So let's just do that. And then I will affix the foot platform on the line. Now, today I'm doing a lot of talking. We're not going to be concerned about time. We're not going to be concerned about noise. And in no way do I feel that this method should replace anyone's method or become their primary tree climbing method. But it is possible to climb this way. And for example, a rope climber might use this method one time to secure a false crotch up in the canopy, and then use a conventional method the remainder of his or her climbs. All right, so let's start by stepping into the system and loading it with my body weight. And I do a sit-stand move to advance the friction hitches. And quite obviously, I'm only going to be able to climb as high as that first saddle hunter's hitch. I get up as high as I can on this, And here's the magic. Utilizing the fact that the saddle hunter's hitch can take load on either strand, I'm loaded on one strand, I am going to fashion a second saddle hunter's hitch as high as I can manage above the first one. And then I'm going to leapfrog over the first one and load the second. So obviously you drop a beaner, be good to have a spare, but you can always get down. Your life is never dependent on dropping a beaner because you always can tie your JRB hitch and rappel. So I've fashioned that second hitch, and now with the right side of that, I am going to take my primary bridge and I'm going to load. I'm now loading the upper hitch by loading my primary bridge. When I do so, I remove load on the lower hitch, and I can remove that beaner and it spills. Now, I've got all this slack here that was, formed by the saddle hunter's hitch around the tree. I need to get rid of that slack. I'm not going to remove myself from that line. I'm simply going to get rid of that slack. And the easiest way to do that is to simply pump it with one leg through. Okay, slacks out. And now, as I make this next move, I will be transferring my weight from my primary bridge on the other side of the system to this side. And I'm now back in that initial position. Now I'm not going to climb real high today. I'll probably make one more move. Okay, let's see that again. I'm going to take some slack out of the system. Obviously I could make sure there's no metal on metal contact if I was in a real quiet situation. Got adequate slack there. I'll make another. Now note, I am tied into the tree the entire time. This system passes what we call the whistle test, meaning if I were to let go at any time whatsoever, if I had a heart attack, if I had a stroke, if I went unconscious, I will always be safely attached to the tree. And that's critical. I want you to think about that in your own climbing systems and see how you can say the same. So with this move, I'm going to load the upper hitch, raise my legs. This one is slack. Showing it to you one more time. Okay. And I'm climbing. So if you've noticed, I continue to climb the same side of the rope. But when I get to my desired position, and let's say this is my desired position, and I'm going to stay in this tree for a period of time, I set myself up ready for my rappel so that I'm ready to get down at any time. And I do that by forming the JRB hitch. Now you won't be able to follow this from your vantage point, and that's okay. Now, when I formed the JRB hitch, if there's anything that could go wrong, it would be a mix-up at this stage. It's crucial that we tie the JRB hitch with our load on the correct side. So we're going to double check that before we load it. I lock the JRB hitch with a beaner. So I double check, this being the load side. What was my climbing side is the release side of my JRB hitch. And what was the side for my primary bridge, which is where I want to spend my time. So now I am ready to go. I have loaded the JRB hitch and I can remove the other hitch. In fact, I can remove the beaner on my bridge loops. If you are a user of platforms, at this stage in the game, you could secure a platform. If you don't want to use a platform, you can simply use your solid bottom platform like I do. Solid bottom garter hitch to be your platform by putting it on the other line. Now, you won't have the same freedom of mobility as you would with a conventional platform, but it does the trick, and you can switch to the looped platform as well. So this again would be a hunting position. Stay here as long as you like. When it's time to rappel, start by removing the platform if it's there, or your foot platform if it's there. That'll just be along for the ride. And now I'm going to carefully inspect my system, carefully choose the line which is holding my load, and as described on my channel, I'm going to engage a Munter friction hitch. I'm not using any mechanical rappel devices here, just old-fashioned knot theory and friction. And so now I'm ready to rappel. I double check that my ropes are touching the ground on both sides and freely hanging, and they are. And now as I'm ready for rappel, I will remove the locking beaner. At any time up till now, if any load was accidentally placed on this side of the JRB hitch, it can't go anywhere. And in fact, it really requires quite an amount of force to try to move it while it's under load. I remove my locking beaner. Now I carefully break my friction hitches, and now I'm on the Munter. I come on down. Now, if I was going to climb this tree again, I would have left a false crotch. I would have left it inside my climbing line, because then I could have rethreaded a piece of paracord and returned to this tree. So at such a point that you're safely on the ground and you're detached from the system, the cool thing about the JRB hitch is that, as I demonstrated, it jams quite nicely when you are on the system. But if I can direct your attention back to the canopy now, I'm going to select the release line with my right hand, and I'm going to give that a little tug, and down it comes. So there you have it, the JRB hitch climbing method demonstration using the Saddle Hunter's hitch, using the JRB hitch, using the garter hitch foot loop. Variations on this. I've got a half dozen different ways to do it, but what I like about this, because it's not my primary method, is I don't need two systems. I can just use my JRB climbing system, and if I'm in a situation where I have to climb a tree which doesn't offer anything for use with the throw ball, I can still climb it this way. All right, be safe and let me know what you need next.